Welcome in, everyone. This is me, Nick Michalak, and the remarkable Steve Frazier.
Hello again, everybody.
And we are continuing on with the grander George Romero Dead series. We've already done the original trilogy. Now we're moving into the remake territory with Tom Savini's 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I actually hadn't seen this until you lent me your copy.
A couple months back, yeah.
Well, maybe a year ago now.
Maybe something, I don't know,
but
whatever.
Either way, this one slipped past the goalie for me, so...
Okay, well, guys, if you have your own copy of it, turn on your subtitles, get your time zip over to 0, and we'll get synced up with the countdown to get going with everything here. So, in 3, 2, 1, play.
It's funny, in some of the other videos that we've done in the comments section, people have been, like, excited about this one.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of interesting, like, that the remake is so popular.
Mm-hmm. So, 21st Century Film Corporation is the company that Menachem Golan founded after Canon imploded and went bankrupt. And so, Romero goes to him, saying, hey, we want to kind of finally do something to kind of reattach some copyright or something else onto it from the original one where the entire snafu happened with it, with the copyright at the beginning of the film.
Right.
And so...
that accidentally made it public domain.
And no one made any money off the goddamn thing.
Right. To this day, I think you and I could just put together a Night of the Living Dead.
Sure, yeah. So it's just like, well, they wanted to do something to just kind of reclaim it a little bit and try to put a new stamp on it. And it was Romero saying this Savini, who had been friends with since the original film, because Savini was going to do the effects on, but then he got put into Vietnam as a photographer and everything like that. So that
you know what really bothered me about this?
Fell out on that.
When I first saw this, you know what really bothered me is that they're using the audio from the original film.
That's peculiar.
As opposed to shooting all of this with my boy Bill Moseley.
Yes.
Who I've met and talked to a dozen times. Like, they just fast-forwarded, basically, through the scene. Like, we want to cut to the chase.
Yeah.
But we have to tell you what's going on.
Right.
So, but, like this is the audio from the original one, from what I understood. Like, I watched them, like, back-to-back.
Okay.
When I watched this. I was like, that's weird. Now that sounds like Bill Moseley. We have the volume way down.
Yeah.
But it's almost like here is where it starts the new movie.
Well, it's peculiar because, obviously, when they're doing this remake, they want to change a couple minor things just to kind of freshen it up, take a different angle on it a little bit. And so in the original film, they're going to see their dead father. When this one is the dead mother. And so there's a slight bit of dialogue change in here about that. But a lot of it is the same dialogue over in a lot of different places, too.
Right. It's almost like they kind of use the original script, but then just, like Stephen King did that when he wrote The Stand, and then when the full version came out in 1990, he had to update some of the references.
Right.
Like, the pop culture is different 15 years later or whatever. 10 years later.
Yes.
It's always funny because he has this like 8x10 at his table every convention, but I'm like, who's gonna pick that over like
Chop Top,
The Devil's Rejects or Chop Top, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's got two like very famous characters in horror lore canon, and some people still choose this one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Clearly, it's enough to where he keeps making them and putting them on the table.
Sure, something. Apparently, Savini was calling him up because, they already knew each other well from Chainsaw 2 and everything.
Right.
And it's like, Moseley originally wanted to play the Cooper character in the whole thing, but then it's like, Savini's like, we'll choose any character, but make sure it's just Johnny. It was more just kind of like looking to have him as a cameo than more of a mainstay in the entire film.
Right.
Because in a way, Savini still wanted to maintain sort of like cast everyone that looked kind of the same from the original film for whatever reason. So
with this like 60s nerd type.
Yeah. And that's a nice kind of sort of fake out thing that you...
Right, like you think it's
the one guy, you think he's a zombie, but he's just kind of a vagrant type of guy, and then the real thing jumps at you. So it's playing a little bit back and forth on that as we go through the whole thing. It's like, okay, it gives you enough familiar things to kind of go on a track with, but then it'll kind of swerve you off to a certain degree and take your expectations and just kind of throw them for a loop to a degree.
Well, right, because as we have said, or I have said, or whatever, over 150 commentaries now, if you're going to do a remake, it either needs to be better than or different than.
Yeah.
Or it's automatic. Oh, fuck, that looked great. I mean, you could tell it was kind of a dummy, but But what a great way to die. Like, he didn't die by zombie death.
No.
He died by, broken neck.
Blunt force trauma.
Right. And then you get this scene and you go, oh, I get it. Like maybe that guy was the driver of the hearse, and then that was the guy that was in the coffin.
Possibly, yeah.
Like, how else would they have gotten there? You know what I mean? So that's a nice little, without even saying it, that visual gives explanation.
Context, yeah.
Anyway, so it can either be better than or different than. Nice ass.
Zombie ass.
That's a fresh zombie because his ass isn't rotten. And the autopsy cuts. And, the little things like the mother or the swerving or whatever. I can never remember this lady's name.
Patricia Tallman.
That's it.
She's both an actor and a stunt woman. I know her probably she worked stunts on Star Trek The Next Generation. She had a regular kind of recurring role in Babylon 5, but she worked on Jurassic Park and Shocker and...
As a stunt person?
Yeah, a whole bunch of things.
I feel like I know her face from something.
So, yeah, she worked extremely regularly. More as a stunt woman, but fair amount of stuff as an actor, too.
They got a Mercedes for this.
I think I read that was actually Savini's original Mercedes.
That they crashed here?
And he kind of got heartbroken that they had to kind of fuck it up.
I guess if you're going to get a new car and then...
Yeah, just like the first one he ever bought as when he really kind of made some real money.
Well, that would have been what,
At least, what...
I don't think he
10
made...
plus years before?
I don't know if he made real money for Friday the 13th. You know what I mean?
And Dawn...
at that point, he was just still...
fact that he had a cascade of things. Dawn of the Dead, the Friday the 13th Maniac, and The Burning, everything. So it just kind of kept rolling along there. So he just probably...
But I'm saying, if you're going in order, I don't think his payday for Friday the 13th was that big.
No, considering the budget was maybe $1 million less than
and nobody thought it was going to be a hit.
Right.
So, Dawn was...
remarkable for him.
Right. And that was before.
78.
So, I don't know. Dawn gives him the foot in the door. Maybe not foot in the door. That pushes him through the door.
Yeah.
He's now in the door.
Yeah.
And, Friday the 13th being a hit probably gives him a payday for whatever the next one was.
Yeah, the traction. Kept stepping forward at one thing after another. Then you got who else to call in Toby Hooper and he probably worked on Creepshow.
Right, I was going to say Creepshow might have been
stuff.
Creepshow might have been the first one where he got a real paycheck.
Yeah.
An upfront I want to hire you.
Studio film.
Right,
yeah.
right. We're going to give you a lot of money. Please make my film better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And kind of the big thing with this was okay, as we're probably going to go through, we'll probably critique some things here and there about how different and how not different and stuff like that. Well,
I don't remember. I have such a terrible memory.
Right. But it's more the fact that the point was Savini had a lot of big ideas that would do a lot of other things, but since Romero wasn't regularly on set, he didn't have his backing against the other producers who kept telling him, cut budget and cut these scenes and cut all this stuff and just kind of veto him left, right, and center because he's a first-time director. What's he going to do? What clout does he have? He's got nothing.
Right. Well, he has clout in the industry.
And yeah, as an effects guy, but as a director, it's like, okay, he doesn't feel like he's got the muscle behind him to kind of stand up to these guys and kind of push back against that and fight.
I'm trying to think if there's like, okay, so let's say Ryan Gosling today decides he wants to direct.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to give him some rope, right? Like, you're like, okay, this guy's credible as an actor.
Sure.
But even though he has no clue what he's doing as a director, let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like Savini was in that position. Like, he was already a top 3 name.
Yeah.
In his
effects,
role.
In the genre, in the effects field, yeah.
So, I feel like they kind of let him do whatever he wanted. No?
I mean, we weren't there on set. We
I know.
We don't know exactly how the atmosphere of everything was between all these people.
You know what? The next convention I go to, I'm going to ask Bill Moseley.
Sure.
I'm going to ask him, like, hey, first-time director, what's the mood, the tone and tenor of the, you know?
Yeah.
I don't remember there being this many people at the farmhouse this early in the original.
No, I think it was fairly sparse in that regard.
And what I like better about this is that it's, despite the fact that there's no explanation for how this is happening,
right,
or where they're coming from, like, people lived in the house, and those people are still there, and that's credible to me.
Sure, yeah.
You know, it's not like they went the route of, we're going to find them 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, people live here.
Yeah.
Like, let's just tell you up front.
Here's the man.
And I like the fact that, you know, let's look at it logically. He thinks that maybe she lives there.
Yeah. Does he know better?
And she's like, look at his fingers. Jesus Christ. The man's got, like, the hugest hands of all time.
He's a big dude, man.
Like, there are basketball players with smaller hands than that.
I think Tony's maybe 6'4", 6'5".
I think he's got to be 6'5".
Yeah, I mean,
look at this.
You've caught sight of him at a few conventions. He's a tower of a man.
Yeah, I sometimes get caught up in things like the hands.
Yeah.
And his karate chops.
Nice, yeah.
That's a hot pan, sir. That's a continuity error right there. She just turned that fire off like 1 minute ago.
Yeah, if it's iron.
That cast iron is going to burn yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll nitpick the shit out of anything. I'm sorry. I'm a curmudgeon. But that's good makeup on that fat farmer there.
All these guys look fantastic. The performers are great too. Apparently, the autopsy guy was apparently like a movement instructor or whatnot that they brought on, and his stuff really wasn't kind of working as it looked a little too kind of goofy and wobbly and stuff like that. So just kind of reverted back to like Romero's original direction. Like, just walk slow, just move slow, don't overdo it.
Well, again, like at this point, we've now had 20 years of
reference material.
I don't know when the first reference of the word zombie is. I know we talked about that in the original one.
Yeah.
Because in the original one, that word didn't exist.
Didn't have that kind of context yet.
So, I don't know. But yes, at this point, there have been several, undead type movies, most of them Romero's, for them to have a reference, you know. I still don't know if they pick a lane, though. Like some of them are fast, some are slow, but maybe that speaks to a microcosm of society.
Sure.
You know, like, not every human behaves the same way, so why would every zombie, quote-unquote, behave
And they're all in different states of decay and stuff like that.
Sure. Does that impact? I don't know. Nobody knows. I feel like, if I remember correctly, they have this woman be slightly more active and less...
she becomes... she's the inverse of the original one.
Right, she's not as catatonic.
Right, because Tallman was talking in one of the interviews on the making-ofs and everything like that. It's like, okay, when they made the original film, that was kind of what was expected for a female character in a situation like that. But now, as we progressed...
Sure.
We're past the 80s, where we have a lot more proactive women in films, and especially action films and genre stuff. We want to make sure that this character lives up to that sort of expectation at this point in time. Right,
because now we've actually defined, and we actually have a subcategory of survivor girl.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't exist in 69.
No.
Horror didn't really exist in this form in 69.
No.
In that form, I guess.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't look like this, but it didn't look like that either then.
No.
You know, like Rosemary's Baby was like a groundbreaking thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was all creatures and, you know...
Yeah, atomic age stuff. And
right, vampires.
Haunted houses.
Right. It wasn't real people doing real shit.
Not as much.
Which is where
That's a good one.
That is a good one. That's kind of like how, you know, Last House on the Left and... You know, Black Friday became... Or Black Christmas, excuse me.
Yeah.
Black Friday.
I gotcha.
Black Christmas. Like, those two kind of were, you know, by the way, real people actually do this shit.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, way more scary. Yeah.
It took a while for everyone to kind of catch up after Psycho. It's like, kind of catch on to what else you could do with that sort of realistic approach to a horror film.
I like that.
Yeah, so good.
And again, what you don't see, way better than what you do.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that got cut. They were going to give it an X rating, and I mean, follow on from everything from Day of the Dead and Chainsaw Massacre 2, which were all released unrated. They didn't quite. They kind of had to acquiesce and kind of just chop some things down in this regard, and Savini wasn't too happy about it.
Right, because this came out in, what, 90?
90.
So we're on the heels of, you know, like...
The Fridays. And Elm Street's getting the
guts
pulled out of them. Yeah. It was an interesting thing when Tony actually auditioned for the role, because...
Was he in a lot of stuff before this?
Best stuff I know him from at the time was just Star Trek The Next Generation.
I didn't realize that was that old.
Yeah, it started in 87.
Oh, wow.
And his first guest spot was in season 3. So it was roughly around this time, so...
I would have guessed, like, I'm not a Star Trek guy.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know hardly anything about it, but if you'd have said Next Generation, when did it start, I would have said, like, early 90s.
Okay.
So I'm off on that timeline.
Yeah. Anything in that regard, just as he came to the whole thing, they gave him the script. It was pretty much like a cold reading situation, and they gave him the script. He went out in the hallway for 5 minutes, came back in, and nailed it without the script. But
wow.
But apparently he knew the original film so well, they almost knew Ben's dialogue from it verbatim. So basically he just had to take the script, kind of look at it, and find the changes they made, and go back in and just nail the hell of it, and he did.
Right.
And I have never seen a performance that wasn't fantastic from him.
It would really, I mean, it would be similar to, like, if I got cast in a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Sure, yeah.
And it's like, just go in the hall for a few minutes, figure out...
You're Glenn.
Where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I in the story?
Or you're Rod Lane or something.
Right. I don't know if I could be Glenn. I want to be Glenn, but I don't know if I could be Glenn. Probably end up being a cop or some shit.
Sure. Sergeant Garcia. Brown you up or something.
I wonder, obviously I was around, but I wasn't in the know, at the time. I wonder what the general consensus was among horror people. This is one of the first major remakes.
Yeah.
Ever.
I mean, there was only a couple of them in the 80s. The Thing, The Fly, The Blob. So.
Yeah, I guess so. I
mean, I don't know what the distribution was on this thing. It didn't make that much. It had a $4.2 million budget. It only made $5.8. So it didn't, whether it wasn't a big, wider release to get more of it, or they didn't push it very well, or it just wasn't received quite as strongly. It's just definitely one of those films that, as it hit home video, people kind of warmed up to it and kind of rediscovered it and stuff like that over the years. It's gained more of a solid foothold.
A cult following?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, The Thing really did as well. The Thing didn't make any money.
No.
And now it's regarded as one of the best ever made. So, okay, I was wrong. It's not one of the first remakes, but it
hadn't become the trend that we know that it is now.
Right. I mean, it's still, way early in the trend.
Right.
And I wonder what the opinion was on remakes.
Sure.
Because I think for the most part, the Body Snatchers is regarded as equal or better.
Yeah.
I think The Thing is now regarded as way better.
Superior, yeah.
The Fly, I think, same thing. I think the 80s one is considered the better version.
Classic, yeah.
But in today's mind, I feel like the original Living Dead, it would be the go-to over this one.
Yeah, I think the original still has that stamp of being just kind of reigning over so many things. The only thing that gives it the run for its money is Dawn, I think.
Sure.
In the lexicon of talking about what are the greatest zombie films all over the place and stuff like that. So.
And I do think that the Dawn remake from the early aughts, 03, 04, is well regarded.
Yeah, it always was.
Perhaps maybe not as equal to the original Dawn, but
it gets
a solid,
it gets that stamp of approval.
Right. People like it enough to say,
this is on the good shelf.
Right. And, I would put the Friday the 13th remake on the good shelf as well.
Yeah.
I might be in the minority on that, and I know we talked about it. It's in the archives if you want to go back and listen to that one. But I really think that, the Friday remake is better than, everything after Manhattan up until then.
Yeah.
And maybe even Manhattan is itself.
As a quality film, yes.
Right.
Manhattan's a joke fest.
Right.
It's cheese, it's silly, it's ridiculous, but as something that has a little bit of a reputable quality to it, 09 film surpasses it by leagues.
I mean, I guess we'll take this opportunity to tap ourselves on the back. If anyone has not in a while listened to our Jason Takes Manhattan commentary, it is a top 3 commentary that we've ever produced on this channel.
Yes.
I'd be hard-pressed to say exactly what the other 2 are. Halloween 5 is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Manhattan's probably number 2. I think it's reversed for you. But either way, I don't know what the third one might be, but fuck. Go back and listen to Manhattan just to laugh. I can't get over how big his hands are. as much as I dislike the exposition,
Sure.
I do like that the...
Look at the tear, man.
Yes.
At the end of the shot there. God damn it.
I like that the point of the exposition is a solution to the problem.
Yeah. And through the performance, it gives you character. Seeing how he's reacting to the story that he's telling.
Right. It's not just a robot.
Right. That's a thing.
Like, that, it could have very easily been a radio broadcast.
Yeah.
And...
very clinical. You gotta have someone perform it, act it, have a certain substance to what he's saying.
Well, acting is reacting, as everyone says.
Yeah.
And, I think one of the most common reactions is crying.
Yeah.
And if you're able to pull that off, you win Oscars for that shit. Not in this genre, but in general.
You pulled that shit out there, man.
I love that. The photo of the guy.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's really great. That was a person. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just that little 1 second made everything feel human and real. Right, because it's a gun rack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even own a gun, let alone many guns, to necessitate an entire rack. I love this cigarette.
Yeah, hasn't lit it yet.
No. It's an oral thing.
Yeah.
You have to have it in... It's like me with my cup of coffee that I have in my hand right now that I'm not really drinking, but I just have to have it. Awesome. That's great.
Uh-huh.
Both visually, the effects, and also the storytelling.
It tells the story. Oh, my Lord.
That's the hand that came off the banister a little earlier. Thing from the Addams Family.
Sure,
just walked itself right off the edge. That's a fun movie, too, if you haven't watched that one in a while.
Yeah.
Came out around this time.
Yeah, I think in 91.
That sounds right. Is there anyone else in this house?
I like the art direction, like the bear skin on the wall and everything. It's showing it is kind of a hunter's house to a degree.
It really feels appropriate for the setting.
Yeah.
Who the hell is us is a great line.
That's Bill Butler, who we talked about in Friday 7 and Chainsaw 3.
Well, one of those two is memorable.
So
this is our third commentary with this idiot?
Yeah. He's been tangentially involved with Savini franchises, just not worked with him before.
Right, he's always one film too late.
Yeah.
Oh, those things. My favorite phrasing of all time.
Yeah. Again, Savini didn't want to use the word zombie. I mean, it hasn't come up yet, but it was he wanted to focus more on people being afraid of death and see more I don't know, just not trying to trivialize it in a certain way as sort of a buzzword as zombie. He wanted to use something to just be more afraid of the death angle of it all.
Nice little touch with him wearing the Steelers hat.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pittsburgh, his hometown. and home of the, what do you call it, mall?
Oh, yeah, the one from Dawn.
Dawn.
Yeah,
it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah. Monroeville.
Monroeville, that's it. Yep. The company I work for has a store there. At some point, I gotta just go out to that mall. I know the mall doesn't look anything like it used to, but
I'm sure it's been wholly renovated. But there's malls are still standing in this country. It's
Right.
a miracle at this point in time.
right, there's like a very small handful that are, like thriving
Yeah,
shopping
yeah.
malls. What's he drinking back there? What is that beer?
Huh.
Or it's Greeked just enough that I can't
Yeah, it's
tell.
like, oh, they didn't. They definitely didn't pay for
Right.
the product placement because
Right.
they're not putting it front and center in the frame.
And I don't know my beers well enough, let
Oh,
alone
yeah.
retro
No.
logos to.
Yeah, easy could have been something from a prop warehouse or whatever you want. They didn't just pick it up at the corner store.
What else was this old boy in?
This dude, I don't
Yeah,
know.
do you know him from anything? I mean,
I don't even.
I feel like he looks familiar, but I can't
Snake and
place him.
Napier. Tom Towles, yeah. That guy. Oh, yeah. He passed away a couple of years back. He was, well, I know. When you look at the photo, if you.
Okay, sure, yep.
Yeah, he's.
That's from the Wikipedia. If anyone wants to reference the photo we're looking at, it's the
He
Wikipedia.
was in the '06 Miami Vice movie as one of the white supremacist guys who's
Oh,
trying to kill everyone in the movie.
all right.
But
And you have an in-depth
Very,
video about
yeah.
that movie on the channel here
Yeah.
somewhere.
But he was in The Rock for Michael Bay, NYPD Blue, Devil's Rejects. So
Okay.
you know who caught sight of him.
Oh, he was the cop. Yes.
Okay, he was also in Marine Corps. So kind of role in Dog Day Afternoon. So he got around a lot.
God, The Devil's Rejects is one of my
Apparently
favorites.
showed up on Seinfeld at some point. I'll have to figure that one out. Oh yeah, zombies use him like 4 or 5 times.
That's where I've seen his
Yeah,
face, because
yeah,
I've seen
yeah,
all of those.
yeah. I would not have placed him at all from this look.
Right. I guess he did mention that there's other people in the basement. Like,
One thing we definitely say, Bill Butler was a lot better of an actor than the other guy.
The
who was in
original, yeah.
Who came off like Burt Ward in Batman.
that's right, we were calling him Burt Ward
Yeah.
for a while.
He was very stagey.
Yeah, this guy's at least got some character to him.
Yeah.
Very interested in that pig that's up on the piano. Is it an actual piggy bank, or is it just a statue?
A lot of coins in that sucker.
It's not a doorstop like Annie Wilkes had.
So what's the problem getting the change out of the piggy bank?
Right,
That's the tough part.
right. They have to have that hole in the butthole.
Yeah. And you got to
Shake the butthole to get the coins out.
What's the point of this?
I mean,
Who
they
came up
want
with this
to make
idea?
it hard so that you don't spend the coins. I get it.
You get frustrated, just take a hammer to it, and it's like, fuck this.
Right. There really has to be a better piggy bank industry's got to get it together.
Yeah.
This looks like a very modern couple. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the coloring. Like, the fact that it's in color.
Sure.
I don't know. Like, I feel like that does something. If the original movie were colorized, it might feel complete.
Talk about old Ted Turner about that one.
Well, I'm saying, like, it gives it a completely different feel.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you know?
Again, I made a film that was intended to be black and white, but I eventually made a color version. Like, when I did that, it's like it just changes the entire complexion. It doesn't feel like the same movie overall.
Right.
And nothing else has changed. It's the exact same score, the exact same audio mix. All I did was make it color, and it just doesn't feel the same at all.
I think back then, though, in the 60s, you had to physically choose, right? Like, you wanted a black and white film.
You had to choose the film stock,
right? And
the I think the only reason why I shot black and white was it was just cheaper.
Cheaper,
yeah.
Right.
They didn't have a whole lot of cash,
so like you physically had to make a choice. Like you shot, you don't shoot in black and white today, like
not unless you're a real auteur guy.
You can't,
no.
like. I mean, I guess there might be a setting on your camera that you could do it that way, but most people just shoot it and then fix it in post, right?
Unless you're Nolan or something else like that, or like whoever, maybe Robert Eggers, or someone's like a real artistic auteur director and is going to get from Kodak, whoever it is, the actual proper black and white film stock to shoot on.
Right, but nobody shoots on film anymore.
Not aside from Christopher Nolan and Tarantino. I mean, like, even the opening Casino Royale, they actually got black and white film stock for that sequence.
Did they really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's good.
He's really good. I know I was just kind of drawn into him for a minute. And I was thinking to myself, putting myself in their position. And I think we did this exercise when we watched the original one. Like, I feel like I would be on team upstairs, not team downstairs.
Yeah, I think at least one of the arguments we were making was that the fact, like, if you're upstairs, you feel like I have more options to you. If you're all the way barricaded down there, it's like, this is it.
Right.
Last stand type of scenario. There's no other option here. There's nowhere else to go. They come in through that door, you're fucked.
It's one way in, one way out.
Right.
Like, at least up here you could run if you had to.
Right. There's other rooms to go into. You could maybe go upstairs and hole up there, or wherever the case is. There's other entrances, exits, and so on and so forth. But one of our big things when we were talking about the first film was like it was more about the personalities of the guys making the arguments. If you reverse the roles, it would almost seem like, okay, whatever Ben's argument is, you're more willing to go with what he says because he seems a little bit more of a rational guy,
right?
A little bit more of a compassion to him,
right? You want to go with the person, not with the location,
right?
And just because the other guy's such an asshole, you're like, I'm going to choose
fuck this
not
dude. I don't
not
want to hang
him.
out with this dude,
right? Exactly. They really moved that table too. Like Grandma's dining table did not weigh that little.
No, I know those suckers were.
And the legs don't break off that easy either.
No.
And she's not comatose either.
No. I like the emotion in his eyes. Like, it's subtle, but it's like he just.
Well, he's actually deciding,
he's just
right?
Feeling about this. Yeah, he's not making a decision in his eyes. There was like, oh man. I mean, just a tinge of fear here and there.
There was another person in the original one, right? Am I wrong on that? Or maybe I'm thinking of the girlfriend had a bigger role because maybe. Barbara was comatose on the couch,
right?
So the kid's girlfriend there was more involved in the story.
Probably, yeah.
And now the focus has shifted to Barbara.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Probably, yeah.
The old meat tenderizer is a hammer trick. Again, I'm curious how all of the those things knew or know to descend upon this home. You know, seemingly they were randomly scattered, but now they're group thinking together.
Organizing.
Right. Which, you know, it's the same, like, there's no rules, so how do we know?
And either A, it's like because they're making so much noise from the hammering that's attracting attention, or it's maybe just an instinctual type of thing, finding shelter, like not even just like...
Right. We don't know how early in the process this, you know, the zombification of America.
Yeah.
Like, is this day 1? Is it day 10?
Yeah.
I like that some of the zombies are, you know, not as decayed, like they're freshly dead. But like in this scene, there's none of them on the porch or whatever. Like,
yeah, that's interesting.
Like, there's none around.
Yeah.
Like, this woman's the only one in the picture, but then in other shots, there's 25 of them out trying to break through the windows.
Just looking up the cinematographer, he's got some interesting... I mean, he shot Day of the Dead before this, but he ends up working with, like, Spike Lee a whole bunch. Like, School Days and Jungle Fever, and works with, like, Ang Lee in The Ice Storm.
He did The Ice Storm? This guy?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies.
And he does Half Baked.
All right.
And 200 Cigarettes, and like, varied career.
Dude, The Ice Storm is, oh my god, one of my favorite movies. And the look and the cinematography on that feels so different than Day of the Dead.
That was Ang Lee, right? I'm not...
You're right. Yeah.
I'm messing up my shit.
Yeah, that, oh man. What a cast.
It's a good look. This is a good looking film.
It looks very contemporary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also the coloring is so warm.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're in an old house.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a set. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, again, art direction is doing a hot job. I mean...
There's the Jesus picture that everybody has in their home. Over, over the shoulder there.
Yeah.
It's not my home, but it's in a lot of homes. The old rabbit ears. Like, at this point, we're, you know, ankle deep in cable television.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this farmhouse would have had cable because...
Yeah, out here in the middle. Field.
I think my house in suburban Chicagoland only had cable for maybe 2 years at this point.
Okay.
Maybe 3, tops. Again, how different things would be today with cell phones and video cameras and you know, or cell phone cameras, I guess is what I meant.
I mean, I know they did a couple more remakes of this thing. There was like an animated version, then there was like a 3D version with Sid Haig in it.
Great.
I don't think anyone had any reverence for any of it. But since technically the name is still out there, fully wide open available, you could just go ahead and do what you want.
So did you, bitch. Why is she dressed in pearls? Like, did they say where they were coming from or
no,
going
I was
to?
just thinking like...
Because he's in a black tie.
Oh, yeah, he's tux. So they just came from like some big soiree or something else like that, so... I mean, you don't really have to say it, but it just kind of shows that how it just... All this stuff just kind of like utterly interrupted everyone's life in the middle of whatever they're doing.
Right. That's such a subtle thing that is so good. Detailing.
Right.
And they're trying to just get the door?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, beat that bitch. I don't condone hitting women, I just got caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
I also don't condone women hitting men either, but...
Yeah.
What an easy job that girl had, right? Hey, girl, just lay here for a while.
All you gotta do is just make up a dummy.
Right, that saves money. We don't have to pay anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He is so good.
Oh, yeah.
You already are, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playing rooster with it. There's some verbiage that I'm not familiar with that I like. There's Colonel Mustard's wrench there. On Do we know what's wrong with the girl, did they say?
No.
In this iteration? Other than she's sweaty and unconscious? And old Tony there just is just a fantastic actor.
Oh, yeah.
To your point, the eyes. Like, so much acting is done with the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good, because I asked and now my question is answered.
Mm-hmm.
I love that old houses just have doors in the basement. Like, he's focused more on his cufflinks.
Yeah.
Like, these little character traits are just so fascinating to me. I like that they gave a zombie a subtitle. Zombie : ah. He looks like somebody, and I can't place it.
Like Tom Waits.
Yeah, well, that's not what I was thinking of, but that's a fine comp, I guess. Kind of sounds like him, too. Yeah, I wish there was a little more logic to the
attack.
The attack, yeah. But I guess that's what makes
random,
it right.
Yeah.
The randomness makes it scarier.
Yeah.
Not everything in life is explained, Steve.
Yeah.
I love that he's just not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because he's really scared, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's so good.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's such a character piece.
Yeah.
You know, I guess as any...
I mean, it is the examination of how different people deal with fear.
Right.
And Ben, he's a proactive guy. It's like he's a born leader character.
Love this.
And they're dealing with not even just the fear of this epidemic or whatnot, but just the fear of what's going on with their daughter.
Right.
And trying to protect her. And one guy is more crippled by the entire situation. The other one's driven to do something about it.
They're coming right for us. Great blood. Savini always has good... Well, I take that back. He almost always has good blood.
Yeah, the Dawn of the Dead
yeah, that was a little orangey.
This is great.
This is really good.
And Savini said they had to obviously build out the entire chest of the guy, because before it's always oh, someone's wearing a shirt so they can hide the blood packs and the squibs, everything underneath. Right. You want to actually show it hitting the flesh and breaking through and everything.
Yeah, she is a badass in this one. What's the runtime on this?
88 minutes.
Okay. So we're about 2/3 of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know a good... I can't identify a good midpoint from here. It would have been less than 10 minutes ago.
I don't know, maybe just the point of them deciding, I'm going to stay down here, you're going to stay up here type of thing, maybe?
That could be. You're boss down there, I'm boss up here.
Yeah.
That's a good that's a good midpoint line, I guess.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a filming locations or something on this to know if this is this a real house somewhere? Is it a set
I
that
didn't look up. I don't know.
Because they could have very well, all of this feels like maybe a set.
I feel like the exteriors are obviously a real place, and then they just kind of fashion the interiors on a soundstage. Because, I mean, you're not going to go into someone's house kind of...
Destroy it,
nailing up stuff and breaking shit all over the place. Yeah, this definitely got to be a soundstage. But like I said, they did a great job with the art direction, just weather everything, just make it feel like it's been here for 50 years or something.
At least.
Bare minimum, yeah. One of those Sears mill by catalog.
Right, absolutely.
Wonder by catalog houses.
Yeah. Such as the Texas Chainsaw House. One of the most famous Sears catalog houses of all time. a great little detail when the kid says it looks like it said they're going to talk on the TV, and Ben says, well, we don't have time to wait for that. We just got to keep going.
Yeah.
And now they're talking on the TV, and both of them are busy.
Yeah.
And not around to hear it, but he is.
Yeah.
Like those little things are just so good. There again, the eyes that say that can't be true, but it's on the news. Like, he seems like such a well, if the news tells me, then it's true.
Right.
Kind of guy.
Keep showing that blade over there, the saw. It's like, it's got to come in later on. I think it comes in later on.
Well, as Stephen King famously said, and I think I said this on one of the most recent commentaries, that any good little character appears twice.
Yes.
So, same thing can be said for a prop, right? Like, don't show me the saw unless
you got a plan for the saw.
You got a plan for the saw. Now, granted, there's some shit that's just, part of the house.
Yeah.
Not everything's going to come back.
Right. It makes sense.
Like,
I mean, they're renovating the house, they're replacing doors and whatnot, so that you've got a certain
Like, she turned off the heat on the frying pan, and then he used the frying pan.
Right.
Like,
attract attention to it and pay off.
Right. Exactly. So.
There it goes. There it goes.
Let's fight over the TV, and now the TV's broken. You dumb son of a bitch. I do like that.
I like this personality conflict.
I like the conflict, but I also like the fact that the bad guy, so to speak, is right in this situation.
Exactly. One thing is, like, you're put in the basement, you don't get no fucking reception off of rabbit ears.
Like, Ben has finally been bested at something.
Yeah. Put the good guy in the wrong for once.
Just right. And you only need it once.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it more than once, but like that one is just
It just
perfect.
shows how the flared emotions and the impulsive nature of these personality conflicts aren't leading to rational actions all the time.
Awesome. Imagine the creativity. You're going to run out of bullets, though, at some point, right? Like, she already shot 4 into the guy at the door.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
That's right. That's a good line.
Oh, yeah.
Guy with a body tag, toe tag around his arm.
It's great. That's where you know the special effects guys are really out having some fun.
They're just having fun.
Apparently, on this one, they were even, like, scanning people's faces into the computer and just kind of manipulating to see what they could do as a sketch, whatnot, on the computer to kind of manipulate them to get some ideas.
Oh, really?
So they are getting progressive.
That seems a little advanced for 1990 or 89 or whenever they filmed this.
I keep looking at Helen there. She looks a lot like Patty Smythe.
She is the warrior.
Yeah, she is.
And sometimes love just ain't enough, my friend.
Yeah.
That song written by my old pal Glenn Birdnick, who was in Styx for a hot minute. I'm sure that Cooper's more than willing to just hole up inside.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a woman. I can drive. The old can of lighter fluid. Love it.
Whoa.
Oh, hello. Gave him the old 1-2 from behind. Be a good place to throw in some cameos here if you know.
Yeah,
I feel like this chubby guy's been walking for the whole movie, toward the house.
Speaking of such things, I mean, it's like...
Go ahead.
Well, I was reading, it's like, okay, apparently Savini really wanted Caroline Williams for the lead role.
Okay.
But for a reason she wasn't available, or what the case was, so...
In the Barbara role?
Yeah. I could see it. She'd kill it like hell.
I feel like Caroline Williams would play it a little more vulnerable. Like, I feel like this woman is, like, just...
gung-ho all the way.
Like all badass.
Yeah.
Right, you know, like the Terminator lady.
Hamilton. Yeah.
Like, she's more of a Hamilton type.
Yeah. I mean, Savini kept going on about Ellen Ripley and everything as
right.
the template that the
sure.
place is on top of.
Right. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver would have been the same way, and I feel like maybe I'm typecasting Caroline Williams in her chainsaw role.
Yeah.
But she was very, I don't know, defensive, I guess, not offensive.
Yeah.
Not to say she couldn't do it. I feel like she absolutely could. I wonder if that was an ad-lib when he put out the fire on the siding.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, we don't need the whole set going up in flames. I'm just going to put this out real quick.
Save the take, yeah. You have to come in with extinguishers.
Like, if so, then that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently a lot of the stuff they got cut was a lot of those headshot deals with the shotgun.
That makes sense. You don't need brains all over the place. Yeah.
It's unfortunate they didn't preserve the footage for a rated cut, but there was so few films that did that at the time.
Right, whatever's on the cutting room floor goes in the trash.
And considering that the producer being Menachem Golan from Canada, it's like someone was like, he ain't saving shit. He's gonna save money. He's not gonna save anything else.
Right.
It's probably as much money as he put into like a Charles Bronson flick.
Right.
5 years earlier.
Do we? What does that say on the side of the truck?
Whalen something?
Judy Rose is such a southern name.
Yeah.
Is that the same name as the original? I feel like it is.
I mean, all the other names are exactly the same. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No.
Oops.
And Savini's original idea for this entire sequence here was a little bit more elaborate, where it would be Bill Butler's character. He would actually do Tony Caesar.
Okay.
Flaming all over the place, and he's kind of...
I like this, though.
And, well, it was the fact, like, he would go up on fire, then he's kind of crawling back to the truck there, and there's an entire reaction from the girlfriend there, kind of back and forth, kind of anguish type of thing. And then the sparks and the flames would kind of go off towards the gas can. It'd be a little more of a sequence in that regard, instead of just the explosion.
Boom, boom,
it would be a little
right.
bit more human anguish in the whole thing.
Well, I think them cutting to him...
Yeah, Ben.
And his reaction, that really does enough, I think. But yes, if you had the time and the money...
Yeah.
Your daughter needs you. What an interesting...
Yeah, not our.
Not our daughter, your daughter.
Trying, yeah.
I'd be saving those bullets, you know? Until they're, like, pretty close, and you can guarantee a headshot.
Yeah.
Well, now she gets a role here.
Yeah.
They gave her the cataract lenses.
Yeah, that was a big thing that Savini wanted to kind of just white out everyone's eyes, just so you didn't have that. There's nothing there. It's just a hollow, empty vessel.
Right. I don't know if I like that. I think showing the eyes, because the eyes are,
They can work if you have the right performers, yeah.
Like, the eyes are what make you a human.
Yeah.
And...
I mean, some are completely white out. I kind of like a little bit more the cloudy version of it.
Cataract, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think... I think if you completely white them out, it eliminates the idea that they were human.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cooper just can't do anything right, can he?
Oh, fuck no.
Be fun to do one of those mashup things where they take the theme song to the Hanging with Mr. Cooper TV show and, like, cut it over scenes of this. I love when they do those, like, genre things where they take horror movies and make them romantic comedies and that kind of thing. Or take, you know, comedies and make them horror.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. Like, that's such creativity. Like, he's just fired off like John Wayne here.
Yeah.
Got ourselves a point of no return here, right? Like this, This would pretty much be the lost point in a script, right? Where
it feels. I mean, two people have been blown up. The mother's implied to be
dead, right? Like the quote unquote lost point in a script is that transition right from Act 2 to Act 3, where it feels like there's no way where the main characters can accomplish their objective.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they find a way, and now you're in Act 3, and it's resolution time.
Yeah.
I feel like we're approaching Lost Point.
Yeah.
And really, this is what it comes down to, right? Like,
I mean, this is as lost point as you get.
This is where the rubber meets the road, as they say.
Oh. Oh.
Like, at this point, you have to shoot Cooper, right? Because you have to shoot... Because if you shoot the daughter, Cooper's going to shoot you.
Oh, yeah. Straight.
There it is.
Uh-huh.
Is that the same sequence of events that happens in the original?
I don't recall.
I don't either. Like, the same, like...
I mean, I don't think Barbara does anything nearly that proactive.
No, I don't think
time.
so either, but... Is it Ben? Like, Ben shoots both of them? I'm misremembering.
Hmm.
There you go. Get up in the attic.
I'm looking up the plot synopsis on
Night,
Wiki.
The original.
It says, in the chaos, Harry grabs Ben's gun, but is disarmed and shot by Ben. Harry staggers down to the cellar and dies next to his daughter. Well, this one, he's going upstairs. So they little changes here and there.
It's a little more emotional in this current iteration.
I feel like it, yeah.
So, in a lot of ways, this movie is better. It's obviously not as iconic and whatever.
Yeah.
It's not groundbreaking. It's not...
Right.
Like, it doesn't have any of those, like, tentpole moments that, in cinematic history.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, bell to bell, like, it's a better movie.
I mean, I don't want to... I'm agreeing with you to a degree and stuff like that. I just don't want to, like, overstate it and push down the original in any way.
No, I'm not either.
No.
I just think, like, the pacing might be better on this one.
Yeah.
The emotional plot line is better.
It's more shored up.
Right, it's concise. It's...
Yeah.
I'm just really happy with this, the way that everything turned out.
Yeah.
Here's where Tom Savini can really go crazy.
Some barbecue.
Absolutely barbecue. Unfortunately, on this one, they're eating a barbecued charred person, and you don't get those guts like in the original.
It's slimy.
This is cooked meat, as opposed to the raw meat.
It's crispy.
And she knows that, like, you don't even have to really fend them off if you're not so good. Like, the emotional breaks are so different based on the character.
Yeah.
Because Cooper's emotional break is so different than that one that we just saw,
She just kind of realized I'm in an endless nightmare now.
Right. Like, she already went through the family member portion of her nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's big picture nightmare. Yeah. Whereas Cooper is still stuck in the small picture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Him alone.
It just shows how well written the characters are.
Yeah.
And now, if you write a character that somebody cares about, think about this compared to, like, one of the weird, like Final Destination movies or something where it's an ensemble cast that is thrown together and people are dying off and you're like, wait, I don't even know who that is, let alone...
Yeah.
Helen. I think it was Helen. Is it
Yeah,
Helen?
yeah.
All right. You look like a Helen.
I don't know, maybe I read it wrong. I do remember Ben being in the basement on the original and killing the wife, so I think it's the same. I think it was the fact that there is the reversal there, that Ben ends up in the basement and then Cooper ends up top. I think it's the same thing.
I like that. Oh, the heroin, sure.
Oh, jeez.
Gotta have heroin. It's 1990.
Ugh.
That looked like he was eating bugs, though. There's a mouse.
Oof.
Field mouse. Can't do that today.
Oh.
He literally, that mouse is live in his mouth. He's not biting it, but that's a live mouse.
No, that's too much for me.
I think I'd do it.
I like this dude. He's got a good walk.
It's like a drunk wobble. Yeah. Yeah, he's got a good wobble.
You gotta practice it a little bit.
He's like a baby giraffe. They never paid off the saw.
No, not yet. Like I thought they'd do something with it. I could definitely see going to town with that.
And just like he said, he wasn't going to go in the basement unless it was the last resort.
Yeah.
And now it's the last resort.
Mm-hmm.
Broken cigarette. And he laughs. God damn it, that's so good. I wonder if that was a mistake. If that was an ad lib.
Maybe.
Like, if he pulls out the cigarette and it's broken, they just left it in. Like,
I mean, Tony's...
he's capable of...
He's he's a magnificent actor. I don't doubt he could work with anything you give him.
He just laughed, and now he's crying in one take.
Yeah.
Look at this.
The hysteria. It's breaking through.
Gas pump.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. There it is.
Too late now. It's all incinerated.
God damn it, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so perfect on the
and look,
hopeless end of it.
That's what he's laughing at.
Yeah.
And then that's his emotional break.
Yeah.
You know? Barbara didn't get away in the original one, right?
No.
I don't think anybody lived through that.
I think she ends up at the end of the whole thing, but...
Oh, maybe she's still alive in her catatonic state.
Yeah, just...
Like Sally Hardesty.
Kinda, yeah. It's interesting, they didn't do the whole thing where her brother comes back as a zombie that they did in the original.
That's him there.
Oh, okay. That works. To a degree. I mean, it's different.
Holy Jesus, jumping Christmas shit. That was a Savini film.
Yes, it was.
These are the same types of mob people that were in Halloween 5 and 4. Halloween 4, Ted Allister.
Yeah.
That's Ted Allister's group right there that got shot up. And I assume the helicopter is also kind of a nod to...
Maybe, yeah.
To Dawn.
Sure. Bunch of good old boys.
This is great. Like, the old cockfighting.
Yeah. Drunken.
Right. That guy might have been in Skid Row at the time.
Maybe.
It's interesting that, like, this ending almost implies that there's an end to the pandemic or whatever it is, the epidemic, whatever.
Yeah, the outbreak.
Like, they've got a food truck. Like, here the regulars have outnumbered the undead.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the beer. That's the same beer.
Okay.
Stony or whatever. Like, the guy's wearing it on his T-shirt. Jones Brewing Company. Smithton? I wonder if it's a local, like, PA brew that...
Maybe.
That, like, was like, hey...
If they got T-shirts for it, it's not just signed from a prop warehouse.
Right. I bet it's a local something or other that was like, hey, can we be in your movie?
A little handshake deal or something.
Right.
Throw a couple bucks in, maybe.
So fun. I love that. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, a little bit with the Jeep and everything.
Yeah. This is a much more elaborate, like,
ending.
coda. Yeah. Nobody broke open the piggy bank. And this is obviously a change from the original.
Yeah.
And one that I actually kind of like.
It works because of her character change.
Right. Right.
It doesn't work when she's the Climactic version. It has to be the proactive version that we can see that she can emotionally react to the reality of it all.
And maybe, maybe, just maybe, hear me out. Oh, now they're going to do it with him.
Uh-huh.
Where they're going to shoot the live person, right?
Yeah.
Love that. That's the redemption.
Yeah, it's not like you didn't fucking earn it all the way through. That's the thing.
Right. Like, this ending is way better, in my opinion.
It's a stronger ending in that regard, yeah.
Like, I also think, and this is what I was going to say a second ago, do you think that maybe Savini wanted to get away from the idea that maybe they shot him because he was black?
Maybe. I mean, Romero wrote this version, too.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure Savini injected his own ideas and worked with them, but Romero wrote the actual script.
Okay. Like...
Because there was a lot of things planted on the original film that wasn't really intended, because, again, you cast Dwayne Jones because he was the best actor, not because there was a real thought of thematic, racial
but you could infer that ending happens because of racism, not because of circumstance.
Right. Prejudice and everything. Just blind prejudice.
Right. And in that way, I think this is another chalk mark for this is the better version.
Yeah. I mean, there was supposed to be an extra shot that Savini wanted here where they're going to put the corpse of Cooper and Ben right next to each other as they're burning up in the pyre, too.
Oh, that they're actually equals? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
in that, something along those lines. But there are a couple more touches Savini wanted to put in this thing, but as I said, he he got cut off by the other producers and everything. It just was kind of didn't feel like he had the stroke to kind of push back against them. And also, like, more in the fact...
I wonder if they shot it.
More in terms of, like, the censorship stuff from the MPAA. You felt like they should have fought more, that he would have fought if he was in this position, but on set he just didn't feel like he could kind of muscle up against them and kind of fight for what he believed in.
Do you think that they shot it and then he got vetoed on having it in the cut? Or did they not even shoot it?
No, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they did shoot. They got cut, but I don't think that ending particularly got shot.
Got it.
Because there's a lot of different... I don't know if it was the main thing on here or the other one I was watching. There was a shorter, different interviews and everything like that, but they were showing, like, side by side the actual ending, a bunch of storyboards they did for it, so they didn't actually have source for footage or everything.
So... in the credit, like, I was wondering as we were watching if the subtitles were done later on than when this movie was made,
sure.
And that's why they had the word zombie. But the word zombie actually was featured in the credits.
Okay.
Under, like, for casting of featured zombies, it said. Like, in the credits.
Okay.
So we know that the word zombie happened somewhere between Dawn of the Dead and this one in that 12-year span.
Sure, yeah. Well, even when they did the Argento...
Bartholomew Flaherty, good.
Well, even when they did the Argento version in Italy, that they cut it down, I think one of his titles was Zombie.
Well, there was a movie called Zombie.
Yeah, Argento did Zombie.
Right.
There's one he actually did that's properly called Zombie. That was shortly after that, so...
So is Dario Argento's Zombie the first official zombie, I wonder?
Probably the first one that had it in a title, at least.
This is so fascinating to me. I love the etymology. You know what? I'm just gonna go on record and say that this is the better movie of this and the original. Like, yes, I understand the importance of the original.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just comparing apples and apples,
Sure.
I think this was the better movie.
Okay. I mean, I'm generally more familiar with this version. I've watched it a couple
more times
than the original one, because like I said, when we recorded that commentary, I only really watched the first time shortly before doing the commentary.
I'm the other way around. Like, I've seen the other one a few times over the years,
mm-hmm.
and then I'd only seen this one once.
Okay.
Until today.
But yeah, I think it's a solid piece of work. It lives comfortably next to the first one. It lives comfortably above Day, definitely.
I think so. So we will be back for the remake of Dawn.
20th anniversary commentary for the Zack Snyder, James Gunn remake of Dawn next month.
Is it next month already?
Next month.
All right, well, stay tuned.
Quick turnarounds.
I like it. All right, see you next time.
Thanks much, guys. Take care.